Now is the Acting Homeland Security Secretary, Chad Wolf. Mr. Secretary, it's a pleasure to have you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
What should we be thinking about around the homeland, around security during this upcoming travel period?
Well, Tuesday marked a busy holiday season. Between Tuesday and the end of the new year, TSA agents are ready to screen a record number of individuals coming through the airport. So what I would ask you is to be patient. You will see higher volumes, but again, the TSA agents are on site, are ready to go, and are anticipating the increased volume.
What can you tell us about the safety around the border issues? I mean, we know that the president has recently done the deal with Mexico, done a partnership with Guatemala, and it has the numbers coming down in terms of the people approaching our border. But it has been a crisis. How would you assess things today?
Yeah, what I would say is our strategy is working. The president's leadership on this has been instrumental with our government of Mexico partners. And as you mentioned, we have several agreements with Central America and the like. We're also building the wall. I was down on the border last week, and the Border Patrol agents are saying they need that impedance and denial. They need the new capabilities of what that border wall system brings. And so when we look at securing the border, we look at the physical infrastructure, but we also look at what we're doing with our partners in Mexico as well as Central America.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the wall in a minute. Nancy Pelosi had some comments about the wall the other day that I want to ask you about. But first, let me ask you this. President Trump is revealing his plans to designate Mexican drug cartels as terrorists. This was a controversial move, apparently, but it was stunning officials in that country who are against the idea. Chad, your thoughts. Tell us what you're seeing here and why the president wants to do this.
Well, I still think that's a process that's ongoing, but what I can tell you is when we look at these transnational criminal organizations, they are, between their ruthless killings, their intimidation tactics and the like, they mirror some of the world's dangerous terrorist organizations. And so I commend President Trump and others that are taking this threat seriously. We look at the scourge of illicit drugs and the like coming through our border. We see criminals coming through our border and the like, and it all starts with these transnational criminal organizations and these cartels, and trying to put measures in place to get only at their financial dealings and to cut them off at the source is really what the strategy that we've been working at DHS and around the government.
Yeah, I mean, what I noticed when I took the show to the border wall, we went to El Paso, Texas, was the length of areas where there was no wall being built. That
right.
This right across the way was Juarez, Mexico, to El Paso, and a lot of the border agents were telling me when people want to cross that border, the first thing that they have to deal with are the Mexican drug lords that shake them down for money just to get close to America. That's
right. The cartels control the southern side of that border, and we see it every day as we look at where individuals are crossing illegally. And so we are, again, in addition to the wall, we're putting together a number of policies and procedures that help address this, that help address the illicit drugs, the crime, the corruption, and the violence that follow wherever these TCOs and cartels operate. That's the crime that follows there. So our Border Patrol agents are on the line every day, and they are telling me, they're telling other officials at DHS that they need that border wall system and they need the current policies like the migrant protection protocols and the like to help stem this crisis.
Another thing I was so struck by was the number of kids and how this is just putting children in such tough situations. Let's talk about that border wall. Right. You just gave us an update on the progress being made in just 3 years. 84 new miles built. The administration on track to build more than 400 by the end of next year. President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, will now oversee more of the building of that wall. What can you tell us about your visit? You visited the border wall last week. Right. Where are we in this progress?
Yeah, what I can tell you is every Border Patrol agent and officer that I talked to said they absolutely needed that wall. They needed the impedance and denial, and they needed the technology that comes along with the border wall system to do their job correctly. What I would say is we provide our military who fight overseas for us each and every day the tools and resources and equipment that they need. It should be no different with the Border Patrol. We should listen to our operators and provide them the tools they need to secure our homeland and our border.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, do you think that the skeptics or the Democrats who initially called this a manufactured crisis are seeing this differently today after the realities of what we're seeing? Children in the positions that they are, people, surging toward the border.
I do. I think when you look at the border and you look at what we went through in April and May and June of this year, there's absolutely no way that you can see this as a manufactured or a made-up crisis. We had over 140,000 folks coming across the border each of those months. We are down. We continue to move that down with the number of policies that I've talked about in place. So we've gotten a little bit past the humanitarian crisis. It's still a security crisis. We still have over 40,000 folks crossing the border illegally every month. Apprehensions are down, and so that's good. What it says is that with the President's leadership and the Department's work, the process and the strategy that we have is working. We've just got to do more and work harder at it. What
can you tell us about Jared Kushner's role? Have you spoken with Jared about what he wants to do in terms of changes or sort of new issues in place to continue this progress?
I have spoken to him. Look, I welcome his leadership in this area. He comes from the private sector. He knows construction. He knows how to get things done and build. And so when we talk about the border wall, there's two different phases here. There's the land acquisition, and then there's the actual border wall construction. And the land acquisition, if you talk to anyone in South Texas or the like, that's the most difficult part. And that's what Jared's been working on, and I look forward to continuing to work with him.
All right, we will leave it there. Secretary, it's great to see you and to have you on this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.